Finally getting to chapter 2, Ancient Echoes by Walter Brueggemann. It's been a crazy week. They're all crazy weeks. So, it's not really an excuse, it's just a fact of life that one needs to read through. So, the discomfiting gift of newness. The second right-wing claim listed in Kirk Anderson's Evil Geniuses is belief in our perfection, mythical yesteryear. Excuse me, I read that wrong. Belief in our perfect, mythical yesteryear. This claim by the right is the wish or hope to escape a present social reality into an imagined past that was found to be more congenial and less demanding. Such an exercise in nostalgia is highly selective about the past, with a capacity to forget or deny the many liabilities of that past for the sake of a pretend world. In the world of ancient Israel, that act of escapist nostalgia is on exhibit in Psalm 137. While we tend to focus on the hope for vengeance voice in the psalm, we may notice that there is a longing for remembered Jerusalem that is precious and treasured. Verses 5 and 6 say, "If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand wither, let my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth. If I do not remember you, if I do not set Jerusalem high above my highest joy." That remembered Jerusalem, however, is very different from the city characterized in the prophetic poetry, or for that matter, in the narrative account of the kings. The prophetic lines cascade those who are at ease in Zion, who engage in self-indulgence. Alas, for those who lie on beds of ivory and lounge on their couches and eat lambs from the flock and calves from the stall, who sing idle songs to the sound of the harp, like David improvise on instruments of music, who drink wine from bowls and anoint themselves in the finest of oils. From Amos chapter 6. Those who engage in luxury, however, failed to notice the profound crisis into which the city had entered. So narcotized. Reading on. They were not grieved over the ruin of Joseph, from Amos 6:6. They simply did not notice the signs of failure and destructiveness that were all around. In like manner, Isaiah can describe the daughters of Zion in terms of impervious self-indulgence. Because the daughters of Zion are haughty and walk with outstretched necks, glancing wantonly with their eyes, menacing along as they go, tinkling with their feet, the Lord will affect with scabs the heads of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will lay bare their secret parts. From Isaiah chapter 3. And then, the prophet, in mocking understatement, provides an inventory of the tools of self-indulgence that will be forfeited. Let's see, Isaiah 3, starting in verse 18. In that day the Lord will take away the finery of the anklets and headbands, and the crescents and pendants and bracelets and the scarves and headdresses and armlets and sashes and perfume boxes and the amulets, the signet rings, the nose rings, the festival robes, the mantles, the cloaks, the handbags, the garments of gauze and linen garments, the turbans and the veils. All the totems of privilege will be taken away. The city is not safe, happy or beautiful venue for life or for faith. Jeremiah, in his turn, can characterize the predatory economy of the city, wherein the poor are like birds caught in a cage, where orphans and the needy are disregarded. For scoundrels, from Jeremiah chapter 5. For scoundrels are found among my people. They take over the goods of others. Like fowlers they set a trap. They catch human beings like a cage full of birds. Their houses are full of treachery. Therefore they have become great and rich. They have grown fat and sleek. They know no limits in deeds of wickedness. No limits in deeds of wickedness. They do not judge with justice the cause of the orphan, to make it prosper. They do not defend the rights of the needy. From Jeremiah 5:26-28. All of this is voiced concerning Old Jerusalem. None of this, however, is noticed in the nostalgia of Psalm 137. The capacity or disregard of social reality suggests that the backward looking of the psalmist is on the lips of the elite, who never experienced or noticed the socioeconomic realities of the city that were carefully kept from view. They had no notion of the underside of exploitation and oppression. It is at long last second Isaiah who addresses such elite, exilic nostalgia. He utilizes an imperative that the privileged exiles should turn their attention away from their backward titled nostalgia to face forward into the new history that is now emerging. From Isaiah 43, verses 18-19. Do not remember the former things, or consider the things of old. I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? It is time to, Brueggemann continues, it is time to relinquish that imagined past. It is time to notice that Yahweh is making a new world before their eyes, and they are bid by God to accept and live into that future, even if it requires that they will not have such preeminence and influence in the newly emerging social scene. The exiles are urged to face up to the new reality. As the tradition of Isaiah unfolds in its anticipated scenario, the poetry culminates in Isaiah 65, verses 17-25, with a vision of a new heaven, a new earth, and a new Jerusalem. This new Jerusalem is not some heavy escape. It is rather a viable city where society is marked in healthy ways by an absence of immortality. From Isaiah 65. No more shall there be in it an infant that lives but a few days, or an old person who does not live out a lifetime. For one who dies at 100 years will be considered a youth, and one who falls short of 100 will be considered accursed. The next point, by a viable, peaceable economy, with absence of predatory threat. Also from Isaiah 65. They shall build houses and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards and eat their fruit. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For like in the days of a tree shall the days of my people be, and my people shall long enjoy the work of their hands. Next point. By healthy childbearing, in which both mother and child are kept safe. They shall not labor in vain, or bear children for calamity, for they shall be offspring blessed by the Lord, and their descendants as well. The next point, by the acute attentiveness of God to their prayers. Before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. And then the last point, by a full reconciliation of all parts of the environment. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. The lion shall eat straw like the ox, but the serpent, its food shall be dust. They shall not hurt or destroy all on my holy mountain, says the Lord. The prophetic point in Isaiah 43 verses 18 through 19 is a call away from escapist nostalgia to a community to be given in God's good governance that is marked by human life made possible, peaceable, and prosperous. We may conclude that conventional prophetic faith is exactly a refutation and rejection of the option of a perfect mythical yesteryear. It is obvious that this same sequence of nostalgia summons to newness, a characterization of newness, readily pertains to our own socio-political crisis. The nostalgia of the right wing is to seek a return to the good old days of white male domination, when everyone had their assigned roles to play. Men were in their place, blacks were subordinate, and gender roles were unconfused. Clearly, the revocation of Roe in Dobbs versus Jackson is a part of the return to the good old days that has been given loud and spectacular articulation by Donald Trump's MAGA. The America that he aims to make great again is one of white male domination. According to the inclination of the Supreme Court, the only Americans with explicit constitutional rights are white plantation owners. One can hear in such a backward yearning for white male domination an echo of the psalm. If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand wither, let my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth. If I do not remember you, if I do not set Jerusalem above my highest joy. One need only substitute white male domination for Jerusalem, and the point is clear enough. Such an arrangement of social power was indeed a highest joy for some. But for many, many others who do not appear in the blueprint of MAGA, the good old days were bad indeed. They were full of women with such low ceilings, with such a low ceiling. They were bad for blacks who were denied most opportunities, and they were bad for gays and lesbians who had to live covertly. This imagining of a perfect mythical yesteryear of white male domination is an exact counterpart to an imagined joyous Jerusalem that conveniently skips over the truth-telling anguish of prophetic articulation. The prophetic work now, as then, is to summon our body politic away from nostalgia for a world that never really existed, to engage in social reality, and to receive the newness that God promises us. That emerging newness that we may take as a gift from God is indeed a multi-ethnic, multiracial society in which no one is granted specific advantage, and in which no one is assigned to a subordinate role. That new future entrusted to us is a vision of the old baptismal declaration from Galatians chapter 3. Neither Jew nor Greek, neither slave nor free, neither male nor female. That baptismal triad touches the continuing sore points among us concerning insider-outsider, that is, clean and unclean, and economic equity between genders, races, and social classes. It is only those who live in a make-believe past who fear replacement from a world that never was. The new social arrangements coming upon us seek to exclude no one, but rather invite everyone to participate as a neighbor in a common enterprise of viable community. The church, given its rootage in the memory of Jesus and its hope in the coming reign of God, is particularly situated to reiterate the summons of Isaiah 43, its call to stop the illusionary nostalgia, notice the emerging newness to be received as a gift from God, albeit an inconvenient gift, and to accept the work and responsibility that goes with receiving life on new terms. Those who are displaced from positions of power, privilege, and influence do not easily receive such news. So it is in the church. So it is in the church as well. That is what sometimes causes the church to be resistant to change. But the God of the gospel is always making new, and we are always on the receiving end of God's newness. Our nostalgia will not stop the newness from God. It will only make the newness more painful for us. God's truth is indeed marching on, and we are at the work of catching up with that newness, receiving, embracing, and taking responsibility for that newness. God's truth is marching on, and all of our illusionary nostalgia will not stop that march toward justice, peace, and freedom by way of mercy and compassion. Bergman be calling it out, right? Anyway, that's chapter 2.